Is it your belief? Is it possible that the Niners made this maneuver from 12 to 3, using all the draft capital that they used to go get it, to choose a position that will only serve as an evaluation all the way through to the draft? Or did they know who they were going to go get at number 3, assuming that Wilson and Lawrence would be off the board? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they had an idea of who they wanted. I think they obviously, Rich, I think all personnel departments will leave themselves open to changing their mind simply because you can always get information later on in the process that can possibly sway you, especially if you have some guys who are very closely grouped, which when we're talking about quarterbacks and we're talking about these specific quarterbacks, there's no way you can definitively say that between Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones, that one is just head and shoulders above the other in terms of being a productive, high-level performer in the NFL. There's no way you can say that. You could subjectively argue one guy for another based on what your tastes are and what, I don't know, whatever you perceive to be, something that you see that somebody else doesn't see. But all things being equal, there's no way you can say that one guy's going to be so much better than the other. And I think with San Francisco, I think even if they have an idea of who they wanted, even if they had an idea of who they were going up to get, I think they're going to leave themselves some wiggle room to say, hey, look, if somewhere here late in this process somebody just blows our doors off and we wind up getting a level of comfort with them that we didn't have previously, then we can change our mind. And look, I always tell this story. Look, that kind of thing, it isn't always that, you have to know because everyone thinks that you have to know what you want to do. Because if you don't, I've heard people say, well, it's just irresponsible for them. No, it's not. It's not irresponsible for them to do this. They can do whatever the hell they want. Because in the end, if the guy winds up being the right guy, and maybe it was someone who, they didn't initially think that they had favored, and then they wind up winning the Super Bowl, are we going to hold it against Kyle and John and say, well, that isn't who Adam Schefter said you were going to pick? And you know what? We're not going to celebrate that. Damn it, you pay too much for that guy, so guess what? No one cares in the end. You just care about getting it right. We did that in 2004, Rich, when I was in Washington. We went in the night before the draft saying we were going to draft Kellen Winslow Jr., Kellen Winslow II, whatever. The night before the draft. We had a big meeting the night before, the entire personnel department, entire coaching staff, and we were arguing like kids in there about who would be the better pro. And it was damn near 50-50. The next morning, we come back and we flipped it. Sean Taylor first, Kellen Winslow second. We draft Sean Taylor. He's on his way to a Hall of Fame career before he's taken away from us. And it was the smartest move we could have made. So, look, I don't need for them to have it set in stone who they want to pick. They need to have it set in stone when they're on the clock. That's what matters.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.